We have right here the Mitsubishi Montero Sport Black Series. Let's do a review. So the Montero Sport Black Series was the first car launched in the Philippines for 2022, and it replaces the GT 4x2 variant, which my family actually has as our family car, and it's priced at 2,025,000 Philippine pesos, which puts it in line with other SUVs in the segment. So let's see if it's actually worth it. So let's start the review by looking at the exterior of the Black Series, and here in front, as you can see, it still looks very striking. It's one of the more standout models in the segment, and this Montero Sport face was actually introduced in 2019, and until now, 2022, it still looks good. And in this case, since this is the Black Series, we have a blacked out front grille and blacked out headlight housings. These, by the way, are LED. We have LED DRLs, and we have LED fog lights, cornering lights, and a halogen turn signal right here. And also, for the Black Series, we also get parking sensors here in front, and we still get this chrome portion here, which does give it a nice contrast. And before we continue pa, I'd like to add that I personally would prefer this to be in white instead of this black color, because it just gives more contrast, which will look really good. And then anyway, moving here to the side, it's basically the same as every other Montero Sport that we have in the market. Even the chrome side mirror still here, it's power folding, by the way, automatic power folding, so when we lock the car, ayan. And then added to this variant is a 360 cam. For the GT 4x2 didn't have it. And then we still have the same wheels, 18-inch alloy wheels wrapped in Dunlop Grand Trek tires, but this time they're blacked out instead of two-tone. Then we still have our running boards, which are silver, by the way. I think it would have been better if it was put in black. Then chrome door handles and chrome window surrounds. So I think that some of the things here should have been blacked out as well, but I personally like these in chrome. Then moving towards the rear, this is still the love or hate it thing for people who buy Montero Sports or people who buy SUVs in general. So this one, it has these, what they call the crying taillights. I personally really love this. It gives the Montero a very unique look, and it really stands out. And you can really tell na, uy, Montero yan, diba? Pag nakita mo sa daan. Anyway, it's almost full LED. So everything's LED, the taillight, the brake light, the signal light's not. This was a signal light. And the reverse light is LED. Then we also still have chrome here and the spoiler for the Black Series and GT 4x4. If you get the white Black Series, the spoiler is actually black. In this case, you can't really tell that it's blacked out. Then once we open the tailgate, this is actually faster than before. And Siri is talking to me. So anyway, over here, we have just a good amount of space. This is typical of most SUVs, so come here and check it out. So just a decent amount of space. We have space for this bag, so it's actually this thick if you look at it. And tripod behind it. And some other stuff. So, ayan. Then if you fold the seats down, they fold really flat. So this is one of the Montero's ace over some of its rivals. So let's just move the stuff. Ayan, so as you can see, we have a very good amount of space back here. Then under the floor, we also have storage, and it's divided. So it's really good. And more on the side. Maliit lang, pero pwede na, diba? Then to close the tailgate, of course, you just press the button up here. Ayan. And it's really fast again. Other SUVs, medyo mabagal. In this case, it's fast. So now, we can now go inside.
Notice how this unit doesn't have tint. Ang init.
That is why you should install Supermax Tint. Supermax offers different levels of tint. We have the light, the medium, and the super dark. And ito sa taas, this is also the medium. And kahit lang nakaiwan lang yung sunroof naka-open buong araw, nakabilad sa open parking, the car doesn't get that hot compared sa kotse mo na walang tint. And it also blocks UV rays, so safe yung skin mo when you're traveling around Manila or going to the expressway. If you want your car to get Supermax Nano Ceramic Tint, you can contact them somewhere here in the screen. Feel free to message them.
So now we're inside the Montero Sport Black Series, and as you can see, it just looks basically the same as the Montero Sport that came out in 2019. So honestly, it's getting a bit dated in here compared to other SUVs like the new Ford Everest, the Fortuner, and the Nissan Terra. All of those have more modern looking interiors, but still it looks good. Materials are hard touch plastics. Actually, this has one of the cheaper interior materials in the segment, but they all feel high quality, typical of any Mitsubishi vehicle. Same with the doors. So we have hard touch plastic on top, some leather here on the handle, and leather on the side of the door as well, which is really nice actually. Then moving to the steering wheel, we have a 4-spoke leather wrap steering wheel, which is really nice. It's tilt and telescopic as well, which is of course another very nice thing. And we have fixed paddle shifters at the back, which honestly, this is how paddle shifters should really be, and they feel really good as well. Then for the horn, it's just your typical Japanese car horn. Then also, the steering wheel, as you can see here, we have controls, but this time we already have adaptive cruise control, which we'll talk about more later when we get this on the road. Then we also have a button here for the 360 cam, which we'll talk about in a bit. So anyway, moving to the screen, we have here an 8-inch touchscreen infotainment system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Honestly, it's quite limited, so we only have a few menus over here. Not much to do actually, but it's very responsive and it's very easy to use, and it's very easy to understand as well. Everything is where you expect them to be, which is something that many new cars today don't offer. Then we also have there the display of the 360 cam, which I just mentioned. So it's not the best, but it works, and it's something that's really important in this kind of car, diba? Also, again, we have Apple CarPlay, so we connect with USB lang. It's not yet the wireless type. Also, I'd like to add that it would have been better if we had the volume knob, so we actually have to use this touch sensitive volume control right here, which is a bit annoying sometimes. Then moving on, we also have here dual zone automatic climate control, and this car actually has one of the coldest air cons among the cars we tested. If we're not mistaken, this is the same as the one that Nissan uses in the Terra. Then moving down, we have 2 USB ports, an HDMI outlet, 12-volt power outlet. Then some storage here. We can put here our phone maybe. Ayan, fits perfectly. Then our shifter, so just a normal shifter. And then an electronic parking brake with auto hold function. Some storage here where we can put some coins or maybe house keys, diba? Then 2 cup holders and center armrest with storage underneath, which is really nice. Then for the seats, we have leather wrapped seats, and in this case for the Black Series, both front seats are powered. So before with the GT 4x2, driver's seat lang ang powered. This time both front seats, and they're both height adjustable as well. Then the leather is actually okay. It's not the best. It feels more on the durable side rather than the plush side, but that's okay. And at least it hugs you very well. Medyo flat lang yung likod niya if you look here, diba? It's just a bit flat. So the old one actually had more lines, which felt better, and it had some kind of softer leather in the pre-facelift version, but still, it's okay. So here at the back, we have a decent amount of space in the Montero Sport. So most people actually know this as one of the smaller PPVs or the smaller SUVs available in the segment. So that's actually really true. And as you can see here, legroom is pretty good for me. I'm about 5'7", and this is my driving position. So I actually have a lot of space right now, but footroom is a bit tighter, so my shoes can hardly fit under the front seat. So it's actually rubbing in the things under the seat. But legroom, really good. Headroom is okay. Better than the Fortuner, but sakto-sakto lang. Then materials are still the same. Hard touch plastics everywhere, and then the leather on the side of the doors. And we also have some piano black materials, by the way. Then for the seats, ganun din, we have the same material as the front, just a good leather, decent leather. But at least we have this nice center armrest here with 2 hidden cup holders, which is of course something that we really need in a car like this. Then over here, if you look here, we have 1 USB port. Or sorry, we have 2. I didn't know that. And we have a power outlet, a 220 volt power outlet, which We can put here our laptop. We can use our laptop, charge our phones faster, diba? Then 2 pockets behind the front seat, so we have a package here. And of course, in an SUV like this, it's important to have rear aircon vents. And I actually really appreciate the fact that they're here on the side because they can actually block out the heat coming in through the windows. Then over here we have the controls, so up and down, off. So now let's get inside the third row. So all we have to do is pull the lever right here and it will automatically go up. Anyway, space to get inside is pretty good. Medyo malaki ako pero okay lang. Ayan. So I'm not so good with third rows. I hate the third row. But anyway, space is okay. It's pretty good. But footroom is non-existent. So I can hardly move my feet back here. Legroom, okay, knee room rather, is good. Headroom, my head sticking to the ceiling. But yeah, so it's best here reserved for children. So even if it's tight here, at least Mitsubishi didn't forget about whoever's gonna be seated here. So we still have some headrests, of course, it's very helpful in this case. Then we have 2 cup holders. Unfortunately, we only have it on this side. We don't have it on that side. But still, we also have aircon vents here, of course. Very much appreciated. But I wish that we could adjust the second row seats. Unfortunately, we cannot do that over here. And we also have a 12-volt power outlet over here. You can't see it right now, but it's over here. So anyway, let's get out. Medyo masikip. Let's see if I can get out. So now we're driving the Mitsubishi Montero Sport Black Series, and like I mentioned earlier, my family actually has a 2020 Montero Sport GT 4x2, and of course it's basically the same, and we've also reviewed the 4x4 before. So yeah, so still under the hood is a 2.4 liter Myvec turbo diesel engine. It produces 184 horsepower and 430 newton meters of torque, which isn't the best in the segment, but it is enough, and that is paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. So in terms of acceleration, I have to say that this is one of the best SUVs in the segment. No bias dun, because power is very direct, it's very responsive, the car responds very well to any acceleration inputs that you want. Although I must say that it would probably be a bit smoother if we had less gears, maybe a 6-speed automatic, but the 8-speed automatic is one of the best out there. Also, despite it being one of the less powerful models in the segment, minus the Toyota Fortuner or maybe the lower variants of the Mu X, it still feels like it's one of the most powerful. It doesn't feel like you need more power. Everything is there. Lahat ng kailangan mo mabibigay niya when you need it. When it comes to steering and handling, again, it's also one of the best in the segment. It's on the heavier side, the steering, but it still feels really good, and it feels very direct most of the time. There are sometimes it feels like there's a bit of a delay, but it's not that bad. And when you combine that steering and the handling with the really good engine performance, you can really feel that Mitsubishi has still injected a bit of its rally art DNA in this car. What the Montero Sport could improve on is the ride quality and NVH insulation. Well, of course, the ride of this is not as bad as the Toyota Fortuner. In fact, that was one of the most recent cars we reviewed, and grabe talaga, this is already far from it. Even if sometimes you can feel like this is a bit stiff, but still, it's already better than the Fortuner. Then when it comes to NVH, it could also be a bit improved because when it comes to higher speeds, medyo malakas yung wind noise. Well, right now we're at around 80 kilometers per hour and it remains quiet naman. Although wind noise will be higher around maybe 90 kilometers per hour. And then the engine noise is also a bit loud when you're driving at lower speeds, although expected naman yun from a diesel vehicle. Visibility in this car is also not a problem, so we have a decent size of windows, windshield, side mirrors, everything is good. Plus, this already has the 360 cam, so before, medyo mahirap yung how high the hood is, so you can't really see what's in front. Now we have parking sensors, 360 cam, so Mitsubishi did well in that regard. Overall, I can really say that without any bias, that this is one of the best driving models available in the segment. When it comes to fuel economy naman, that's still very important these days, especially considering how expensive diesel is. And the Montero does not disappoint because this car can do around 12 kilometers per liter in the city, light conditions by the way, and then around up to maybe 18 or 19 kilometers per liter on the highway. So not bad at all, and it's really good. And before we end, the Montero Sport was one of the first SUVs in the segment to feature driver assist feature. So the 4x4 when it came out, or actually the pre-facelift model, already had things like forward collision mitigation, forward collision warning, and adaptive cruise control. And now with the Black Series, it already has those features as well. And I must say that the adaptive cruise control is one of the better options. It feels like something you'd be getting from a Honda, which Honda has one of the best systems in the market. So this one also has a really good adaptive cruise control. As for the others, we don't want to test them, diba? So if you're looking for an SUV that's the most premium, the most comfortable, the most spacious, well, the Montero Sport is not for you. But if you're looking for one that gives you lots of value for money, that gives you the best drive that you can get, the one that looks good, the Montero Sport is definitely that one.